stay tuned and see what I make of this little action camera by Insta360. So hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Now in order to get more riding videos on the channel, I've decided to try and incorporate more footage from action cameras. Now my camera of choice normally would be the GoPro Hero9. I've been using that for about a year now. Stabilization is very good, but the drawbacks, I think the app is pretty pants. The connectivity is very flaky when it comes to the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity, and the auto upload to the cloud function is really flaky, and it's nice to have those features, but when they don't work it's really frustrating. So I've recently been trying out the Insta360 Go 2, which is a great little action camera. It's only 26 grams. The design of this means that features that you'd get on the Hero9 have been offloaded to other modules in the kit. With the GoPro, everything is kind of on board. So obviously the camera, the main battery, all the control interface, you've got two screens on there, you can change pretty much all the shooting settings on board, and you don't need anything else. But drawback is, you know, the packaging's quite big and you've got a bit of weight on there. But if you're going out riding, you just want to take one thing, all you need is a GoPro and kind of a mount of choice. So I would say that's like a 2-module kit. The Insta360 has been broken down into modules, and some say that's a good thing, some say that's a bad thing. So what do you need for the Insta360? Well, you basically just need one more piece. So you've got, this is the main camera device with a small onboard battery, and they're saying it's the same sensor size as the GoPro Hero 9. You get a charging kit and kind of control box as part of the modular design of the system. That's waterproof, that isn't. And then again you need some sort of mount to mount it to a bike or a helmet or whatever. And so this is kind of a 3-module system, this is a 2-module system. But what you need to actually shoot videos once you set it all up is just that. So, or some other kind of mount, like a, you know, a head mount or something like that. And the good thing about the Insta360 Go 2 is it's so light, it's much easier to mount it than a GoPro. So quite often you don't actually need like a big heavy duty adhesive mount. You can zip tie, like you see in these videos here, you can zip tie, you know, the little head mount to your helmet, very temporary kind of fixing, or you can use a GoPro style mount. That interface is common between GoPros and this. You need this part to set the settings up on the camera, or you need the phone app. Now the phone app of the GoPro and the phone app of the Insta360, I would say the Insta360 is a much more powerful phone app than the GoPro, because the control functions of the actual camera itself have been offloaded. So they're in here, which is also quite basic interface, and this is the battery. So this battery case is about the size of an AirPods case, and the control kind of UI is on here, on this part, or it's on the phone. So the phone app has to be very powerful to replace the control and settings UI that this has. Now when I first got the camera I thought, actually that's not, I don't like that. I like to have everything on board, but having used it I much prefer it, because it makes the camera a lot lighter for one. It makes it easier to mount, it makes it more versatile to mount. So you can basically put this in a little clip which it comes with. It's also magnetic on the back, or you can put it in a kind of GoPro style cage, and it just makes it a bit more forgiving. There's less weight there and it's less likely to kind of bounce around or pull off an adhesive mount. So these shots, like I said, were taken just by zip tying this mount to my Casque Protone, and then I've got another helmet mount which I use for my mountain biking shots, and some other clips which just uses a normal kind of GoPro style mount, which is an adhesive mount. But I don't notice the heavy weight on the front of the helmet like I get with that when I've got this on there, because this is so light, it's only 26 grams. The UI is, you know, offloaded onto the app and also onto this little control box, which is also a kind of battery charger, which is really quite easy to use. There's a connection between the two, wireless connection between the two. If you're going out to do a day's shooting of all the kind of same shots, all the same frame rate, all the same resolution, having everything offloaded and just having the camera mounted is much neater, and it looks much better in my opinion. Image quality wise, the sensors apparently are the same in both. The amount of light coming into the lenses, looking at the footage, is probably about the same, and I can't really notice much difference, to be honest. The good thing about the Insta360, which is marketed for, is that it has like full creativity in post-production to change the field of view between, you know, wide angle, linear, or action viewing angles, or action field of views, Whereas with the GoPro, once you've shot that footage on the setting that you've given it at the start, you're kind of stuck with that. Whereas with Insta360 app and the Insta360 Studio app for the PC and Mac, you've got full control over how you set up the shot afterwards, which is pretty good. Now, originally I thought that was a good idea, but having played with it, it becomes a bit annoying actually, because when you, let's say you connect this, you put it in its charging case, plug it in USB-C to the PC, you can't just drag those files into your PC editing app, whether it's Final Cut Pro, Adobe or DaVinci Resolve. You actually need to go to an intermediary step, which is either use the phone app or you need to put it through the PC app to change basically the raw fisheye output of this into something that can be edited. So there's another export step there, whereas on the GoPro, everything is kind of compressed and exported to an MP4 in the first place. Whereas with this, you need that intermediary step. Now, that gives you more flexibility in kind of post-production, and for Insta360's 360 cameras, that's definitely needed. But for this, which is essentially, I would still say, kind of a 2D camera, it may be nicer to have everything kind of condensed onto here and outputted as an MP4 in the first place. With the GoPro, you can take the files straight off the GoPro and stick them straight into editing app. With this, you have to put them through the phone app or through the PC app and then into the editing app to select, you know, the final resolution, field of view, because there's so much flexibility in this, and the horizon locking function as well, which is really good. And that's one of my favourite things about the Insta360 is the horizon locking and the stabilisation of this is really, really good, and I think I prefer that to the GoPro. Now, if you're really into Instagram, the phone app is really, really good because you can export, you know, portrait 9:16 videos really, really quickly, and it's really easy to use. The UI of the Insta360 phone app is really good compared to what you can do on the GoPro app, which is a bit more limited. But if you are more editing for PC all the time and you use PC apps, then the fact that you have to put this through Insta360's kind of native app first is a bit, it slows down the workflow a little bit. Now, obviously a number of ways to mount this. You can mount this in pretty much any way you can mount a GoPro, because included, you know, you've got these little cage mounts, or you've got other things like a tripod mount with a tripod thread in there, other kind of handheld mounts or swivel mounts, and there's also, for kind of just very casual shots, you got this magnetic pendant mount. So you put that under your t-shirt, that goes on there. It's not sturdy as a full chest mount, but it's pretty good for kind of casual city recording and stuff like that. So I'm just going to show you how powerful the app is. Actually, it's pretty good to make quick edits and analyze the footage from the actual unit itself. Like I said, if you plug this straight into a computer, you get the kind of fisheye round raw file that actually needs to be changed in terms of aspect ratio, and it needs to either go through this app or the PC app to then make it into an editing app like DaVinci Resolve or Final Cut Pro. After selecting your videos, and you've got full control of all the videos on the camera, and after you export and process the videos, they can then offload them off the camera to free up the internal memory on here, because it doesn't actually have a removable SD card. You need to use the phone app or the PC to, you know, manage the storage on the actual camera itself. So using this app, I would say, is more powerful than the GoPro Quick Studio app. Insta360 have offloaded a lot of the UI off the camera to make it small, so they need to put that powerful UI into the app, which actually I have to say works really well. So you can see I've created a couple of little, you know, draft edits just using my phone, which isn't particularly good, but you can the exporting options in terms of quality are pretty much everything you'd need to then put into a proper editing suite. So, you know, you can see I've made pretty good little edits in 16:9 and got full control over it, split, transitions, cutting, all full clips. Yeah, it's pretty powerful. If you put most of your media onto Instagram, you can, you know, you've got the 9:16 aspect ratio, and you can export a number of clips in different aspect ratios over and over again and still have full control over them. Rather unlike the GoPro, you've pretty much got one shot at the aspect ratio you want, and after you've recorded it, you can't change it again. So you don't have that intermediate post-processing step with the GoPro Hero9, but you also lose control because you're selecting your aspect ratio, field of view, everything up front. With this, you have to do that afterwards, which gives you more control, but some could say it's a little bit clunky because it's just another step. So it's up to you whether you prefer it or not. For some things like Instagram, I think it's very, very good, and if you want to manage everything from your phone, it's very good. Price-wise, these two units are pretty similar. I think in the UK, the GoPro tends to be about £30 more. I do have an affiliate link in the description of this video for the Insta360 Go 2. I get a small kickback if you use that link. Give it a go. I don't actually have a favourite between that and the Hero9. I like this in terms of its simplicity, and I don't change the shooting settings that much when I'm out, so I'd rather have a smaller package than the Hero9. The things I don't like about it is there's that extra post-processing step that's given to you, ironically, by the freedom and the flexibility of the shooting with this. So cheers, and I'll see you in the next one, and watch out for more footage from this coming up on the channel.